Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. I'm the man here that makes it all work. R.L. Woodson or just Wood. Long day yesterday. Obviously with the zone card, with the decision being made to push the fight back, the main event, to after the conclusion of the Masvidal and Diaz fight. Very strange that, that you would take your $365 million athlete, your flagship, asset, or on your roster, your fighter on your roster, and go in and explain to him that, and I mean local time, I guess it doesn't matter because they're out in Las Vegas. But to go in there and tell him, well, look, you got all this extra time to kill because we're worried about these other two guys in this other sport on another platform. That just seems very weird to me. But let's get into it, man. Like I said, I fell asleep on this fight last night. I mean, damn, they didn't get into the ring. 2 or 3 national anthems. They didn't get going until like after 1:15 or something. I don't know, man. I fell asleep in like the 3rd or 4th round, and I woke up and it was over. And I looked at it I went back and looked at it last night, but I really didn't gather any thoughts together on it. So let's jump into it. Let's walk, like my man Avon says. Let's walk. I feel like I was duped, or I was like, they tried to convince me not to believe what I knew better to believe. Like I said, this is a guy coming back. He's 36 years old, plenty of wear and tear. The 2 bad losses or the 1 bad loss to Andre Ward, the bad loss to Eliator, Alvarez being knocked out, coming off a tough fight for an older guy with Anthony Yard just at the end of August. Like I said, man, he hadn't fought 3 times in a year since 2016. I've made my reference with the World Series just ending earlier this week. An older pitcher or a pitcher on a short turnaround, guys have to make these type of sacrifices. I saw in some interview or somebody tweeted about it where he wanted 3 or 4 weeks extra, to prepare, but that wasn't granted to him. Take this money and show up, and do your job. That's that. And he did what any sensible man, especially a fighter, he did what a fighter had to do. Okay, fine. But we get into this fight, and through the first several rounds, I'm not seeing a guy really trying to win, really competing. He's following a game plan, that they've laid out. But as the bigger man, I mean, could you imagine if Errol Spence Jr. had respected and fought in this manner when Mikey Garcia came up 1 or 2 divisions, however you want to look at that. His last fight was at 135, so to me it was 2 divisions because you had to go through that camp to get down to that 135 for the Easter Junior fight. So to me it was 2 divisions. But hearing this the opening of this thing, he's just jabbing. I'm gonna introduce you to the real power at this division. It seems, and then if we look at with the 11th round TKO, the goal was to get to the 12th round and then let the lion out the cage, or whatever the Algieri corner said a couple of years ago. When were you really going to step on it? So anyway, all of Canelo's shots are being thrown with bad intentions. He's selectively, letting them go, but he just has this soft, this tapping jab, coming at him. That's all he really has to deal with. We really don't see a great right hand. I think Mannix referred to it as a consequential right hand until the 9th round. We really don't see a big championship world champion, former pound for pound guy, bad intentions, real heat. We don't really see any of that. Definitely not through the first 3 rounds. There was a double left hook, I think, by Cove in the 4th round. One of those being to the liver. Pretty much he was working with the left hand all night. I had my nose 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. Canelo is throwing with power, often looking to land with the left hook up top or to the body. In the 5th round, Trejo said, she had went over and talked with Buddy McGirt and said that, Kovalev is following the instructions that they want him to keep jabbing to not gas out. Okay, but if you're throwing, or at that time I believe he was credited with or scored with over 130 jabs, and you only landed like 15 or 16 of them according to, the ringside tracking, you're doing a lot of work and not getting a lot of return for all of that investment of energy, that expenditure of energy. So it's a bit of a failed plan in my opinion. Went inside. Here it is through about the 5th round and the 6th round. When they do get inside, Kovalev has no plan. He has no strategy. He's not really going for it. No uppercuts, no combinations. Every once in a while, a couple rounds later, he started sneaking in the short right uppercut to the body, but no real plan inside, which is where Canelo is trying to get to earlier in the fight. On the 6th, one thing that I'm noticing is that Canelo, while being out jabbed 2 or 3 times, is landing the best jab. He's landing the jab that's actually is set up well, is snapping Kovalev's head back. It's a real scoring shot. So even though, Kovalev is doing all of this with his left hand, again, the payoff is really not there in terms of accumulating damage or in really scoring, or building up a scoring lead. Through the 6th round and into, the next few rounds, the whole narrative that we're being given here is that Kovalev can't commit to anything. He can't sit down on anything with this right hand in fear of being countered by Canelo. You're a 36-year-old dude, like I said, a top 3 pound for pound guy. So the accolades are lengthy, and you can't do something because you're now in fear of a smaller guy countering you. That's a bad deal for me as a fan. You can't do something because you have no answer for that. You have nothing to to nullify that or anything. You have no plan for that. And we know he's never been the most sophisticated boxer. He's not, laterally quick, not super agile. That's just not his game. I get it. But how about some feigning? How about, some double and triple jabs? How about just imposing your physical advantages, your size and power and stuff? But you saw him hitting that shoulder sometime, which he got, the referee got into him a couple times, warning him on that. But, basically that's what we're being given here through the 6th, 7th round. You're not seeing him do anything big and explosive and lethal, nothing with bad intentions because he's afraid of something coming back at him. Okay. In the 7th, Cove is still content just jabbing. He's actually just hitting Canelo's gloves here. He's really just looking at his gloves and hitting him on his gloves with his jab. Is basically what he's doing. Canelo's just watching him and connecting with it. For his 2 or 3 jabs that he throws out there, Canelo was firing back again and landing the best jab. 8th, Cole's following Canelo as he circles around, buys some time, regroups a little bit, probably just taking a round off. He gets into a corner similar to what he did with Chavez Jr. He just gets into the ropes and says, I'm here. He did it to Triple G too. And Kovalev still doesn't go in and do... When do you just throw some punches and crash through your opponent's guard? When do you just lean into it, just rear into a guy and just let him fly? He didn't do that. Then when he does land a good shot in that little sequence at the end of the 8th round, as soon as he land, Canelo responds immediately behind it and, gets the better of it, which he did consistently throughout the fight. In the 9th, like I mentioned, Mannix says, damn, guys, we aren't seeing any consequential shots that have landed, that have ended fights previously for Kovalev. We're just not seeing any of that. Okay, so what are we doing out here? But that's when Cove lands a right hand over a jab. That's another thing. Timing. How about using your timing and anticipation? That's what you have all of this experience for. But in that 9th round, he finally lands a bigger right hand that really snaps Canelo's head, making him pay for once. And then and then there was a little combination right uppercut to the body a couple moments before that bigger right hand by Kovalev. And then Canelo comes back and actually finishes up the last 35, 40 seconds of the round with some big left hooks and lets him know, don't get too confident. You haven't done anything. You haven't, you haven't accomplished much. I was just taking a few minutes off or whatever, really just being confident, as a fighter and letting the judges know. That's another thing with that tapping jab and just following him around. Like, where is your demeanor? Where is your bravado as a fighter? I don't know I just didn't know what was going on here. So we get into the 10th. Canelo is stepping it up and he's hunting Kovalev basically. He's coming, he's walking him down. He's throwing different left hooks, going to the body, going upstairs. The uppercut is now happening. He's opening up the whole arsenal and letting the fight build to what we expect in a championship. The best, we're talking about the face of boxing. He's going to work. And he senses that Kovalev is tiring somewhat. He's not, like I said, he's not been punished and made to pay for anything all night. So, of course, he's doing this. As he's growing with his intensity and his aggression, Kovalev is still coasting. Left jab. I think I did have him. He also threw 2 straight rights in this round. And then they said, there's an exchange in there where Canelo catches him, he counters him. And they say, this is why Kovalev's right hand has been inactive or missing in action tonight, because he took the better right hand in an exchange. Okay. Kovalev might have been in the ropes at that particular moment. But anyway, then we get into the 11th round. Canelo is still being effective aggression. He's chopping him down. He's going for it. You got some duties in there as a fighter. You have a duty to deliver and to perform. Get the people what they want. We just did not see that from Kovalev throughout this fight. The big right hand comes behind, a little bit behind or below Kovalev's ears, kind of a chopping shot that gets him into a little trouble, and then he starts going to his right, where Canelo beats him to where he's going, catches him with that left hook around the guard. Kovalev reacts badly to that. We see that he's hurt, and then Canelo puts the right hand behind it on the chin that gets him out of there. And like I said, that's the thing with Kovalev all night. We didn't see anything behind, but like I said, he's never been the most sophisticated puncher, and all of that. but just rarely seeing that second and third punch. And admittedly, Canelo is the type of fighter that you're just not going to sit here and land, longer combinations on. I get that. But I think you definitely got to be getting to the third punch, to a three-punch combination, putting that left hook down there to the body or something, But just to sit there and 1-2 or just jab all night, like, were you really going to win the decision just jabbing all night long? I don't know. But anyway, he's down and out. And, Kovalev is the WBO light heavyweight champion of the world. I think looking ahead to think whether or not Canelo stays at light heavyweight, I think he entertains a fight with Bivol probably, because Bivol is probably closer to being a 168 guy. You probably take a look at that. It's a chance to unify, in another division. You'd probably entertain that, but in my opinion, this was a 3 or 4 round fight. If Kovalev was facing Artur Beterbiev, it was a 3 or 4 round fight. If it would have been AB in there, the Russian AB. So that's about it, man. I mean, again, I've complained quite a bit about the times of the main events of boxing. I don't know who the hell was wrote anything last night, posted anything. I didn't even stick around to really see if people were doing live streams and whatnot. I know I wasn't going to do one. But, yeah, that's just ridiculous, man. A fight ending at 2 in the morning Eastern time. But, I guess I'm not going to get too many. I'm not going to convert too many people to earlier Saturday morning fights. And I understand for the pay-per-view caliber fights, a later start time that's the traditional time for, for boxing, big-time boxing. I get it. But it just, with the fight, like, what do you do with all of this energy and, what do you do with it? And it's like, excuse me, it's 2 in the morning and you pretty much, you're the only one up in your house, or, guys got to leave your house late, or however you watch it. I don't know. It's just not a great thing for the sport, in my opinion. Anyway, but let me get on off of here. That was pretty much my take on it. Pretty good performance by Canelo all around. You like to see a guy not just follow somebody around all night long and not and seemingly not be able to figure out, the puzzle, or solve the problem in front of them. It was that's the professional that you get, the professionalism that you get in Canelo at doing his job and delivering. Like I said, he's a guy, $365 million deal. There's expectations when you get in that ring, to deliver. And one, a good, it being a solid opponent, and then performing. And so Canelo is mindful of that. And, I tip my cap to him in that regard. Although, like I said, this was a strategically made bout. And that's not necessarily a negative thing. If you're going to make it strategic, at least have 2 or 3 things there that make it really intriguing, and it's not just, it's all benefit to you and no risk. So that's it, man. Bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out, as Kovalev did. Peace.